Alright y'all, so today we're going to be making my Season 3 tier list for Dragon Ball Gekishin Squadra, and I feel pretty confident in this one actually. I have tested with a lot of these different characters, I've seen people use a lot of these different characters, talked with a bunch of people around, gauged general opinion from players that I think are good as well, and I'm very excited to go ahead and do this. Of course, at the end of the day, these opinions are my own opinions, and I want you guys to let me know what you think about, the state of the game right now. I think it is a pretty healthy. I think a lot of characters are actually really effective, so I'm very excited to start things off with the list. Again, we're going from basically worst in slot to best in slot, and we're going to compare it to my season 2 tier list. We'll talk about that in a bit, but worst in slot are characters, the 4 characters that I think stand out as I just think that they need buffs and don't really do too much. Decent overall characters that if you're able to cook with them, you could make them look really good, but they still need like 1 or 2 changes to their kit. Maybe I would say it's not like a super necessary thing, but it would be nice for them. 7 out of 10. Good and roll is 8 out of 10. I don't really think that they need changes at all for the most part, these type of characters, and they're able to succeed pretty well just throughout most of the match and hold their own. Great and roll, I would say these characters just are 9 out of 10. They fit the game mode very well, and they're able to succeed just exceptionally, honestly. The best in slot are just the 4 characters that I think I would choose. Okay, the 2 best DPS and the best tank and technical. That doesn't necessarily mean that they can't be outplayed by characters in great and roll or even in good and roll, but they just stand out to me as the characters that I think are the most impactful to this meta. So again, the difference between last meta and this meta is that this meta is a much more team fight orientated compared to boss secure, right? You still need to get triple boss, that's very important still, but I think team fights are gonna be very impactful as well, compared to season 2. There is multiple reasons for that. I think one, build up nerf, right? I think build up getting nerfed, solid barrier getting nerfed is pretty huge and changes a lot of things about this list. In terms of team fighting specifically though, they did replace Android 16 with Gekishin. Gekishin is a much more interactive boss that you just can't necessarily one shot, and you'll have to take a fight, or if it goes long enough, even an elongated 2-ish fights to get Gekishin and make sure you're able to secure him. That's really important just for the triple boss, but also his buff at the same time is not nearly as good as 16's. Android 16 had a 15% movement speed buff, while Gekishin just has the extra vanishing kind of cooldown. That is, well, it's reduced cooldown on the vanishing step. It's not the most important buff, so you don't even have to stress out about getting it. Jacko and Ribrianne's arenas, where you have to be in an arena to actually damage the boss, are a lot smaller, which also incentivizes team fighting because you're all together in that small little area, and you don't want to potentially just lead the boss to just becoming a flip. So that's again kind of why I think team fighting is just so huge right now. And yeah, that's just kind of how things end up playing out currently in the meta. So a lot of changes, let's really talk about it. This list that I made, it feels so weird looking at it. I mean, there's a lot of similarities, but a lot of shifts, I think, especially in the top 3 roles right here. So we can close these out, and we're gonna start off with worst in slot. Again, we'll fill out the worst in slot right now. We got Deborah, Android 18. We have, in terms of tanks, Cell right here. Then I'm actually gonna put Gotenks and Frieza. So this is a little weird, but I just can't really decide between the two. I think it's so close, and I think either one of these is valid, but I don't want to put either of them in decent because I think they're both bad. So this is going to be kind of like an exception here, just because I think they're just both so bad and they need buffs. Maybe I should just do a buff them tier instead of worst in slot. But anyways, Deborah, again, you would think he'd be slightly better in team fight meta, but with the introduction of the Vanishing Step Divine Draw, he's actually worse. He got slight nerfs. Like they say they buffed him, but they actually nerfed him overall, which does suck. It's very easy to avoid this guy. He doesn't have a lot of range. He has less movement speed than before. He just doesn't really do anything. The only time I had like a slight trouble with Deborah is when I was Vegito in top lane, and it was mostly 17 doing the work, like 17 and Deborah. It's like, oh, I couldn't transform, right? But since, if you're aware of that, you could just completely avoid that at the same time. So like Deborah is just not doing anything. Android 18 is right here in worsen slot because she also doesn't really do too much. She also lost no skills on her skill 2, which I think is really dumb that they kind of nerfed her, which it's very unfortunate for her because I think she needed more. I'm not like the biggest 18 connoisseur, so I'm not sure what exactly I would even say I need in terms of her being adjusted and buffed, but her ultimate doesn't really stick out to me as anything too scary. I feel like it could be better right now because buildup is not as prominent, but I don't know, she's kind of like a fly. Maybe she needs more damage, maybe she needs just the higher movement speed. Something with her just needs to be better because she's not really excelling at anything that's scary, especially with characters like Piccolo, Kale, Broly, Super Saiyan Goku. Like they're able to range pretty effectively and just do a lot of burst damage. 18 doesn't have that, so very unfortunate for 18 right there. Cell, we talked about Cell enough in this channel, man. Give him that health buff, get him no obstruction and defense on skill 3. Cell can skyrocket, but right now he's just very easy to kill early on, even though he is actually benefiting in a sense from team fights in terms of his passive skill. His stats are just too low for him to actually take advantage of how he would potentially be able to benefit it. Give this guy extra armor early on, and he could again start to look really good, but right now he just sucks. Gotenks got nerfed again. I think I need to explain Gotenks a little bit because people may be kind of on the Gotenks hype. P was good in season 1, and then season 2, I think he was overrated by a lot of people in the community. Season 3, he's just bad. Like, I'm sorry. Skill 1, you could completely avoid it with like dashes, or especially with the extra vanishes that are going around this meta. It's like, just like with Deborah, you could just completely avoid this, leaves Gotenks wide open. Donut sucks. Donut, it's just not good. Like, I don't know what to tell you guys. Donut just doesn't do anything. It doesn't do damage. It's very easy to avoid. It's very slow. Predictable. What does it do? A super ghost could be decent for like holding a tower, but that's really it. They nerfed the damage it does. They increased the cooldown for it. Gotenks has super high cooldowns on his skills now, by the way. His ultimate you could just fly out of. Poor Gotenks. Unfortunate. Like, he does nothing. Like, nothing he does lands. Nothing he does anything. Like, he actually can't land. He has none of his moves land. You can't land any of his skills. It's so bad. Frieza, at least, I feel like I would say Frieza defends tower better than Gotenks. Frieza could be decent at bosses, but at the same time, if you know how to target Frieza and work around him, he also does nothing anyways. Unfortunately for him, I think he needs like a buff back, and he also lost skill 1 damage from season 1, which made that guy really good. He also just like the increased cooldown for Zarvan and Dodoria just really sucked for this guy. It's very unfortunate. Frieza does need kind of those to be reverted, and he has the potential, but it's just like it's so easy to get rid of Zarban and Dodoria. Very, very unfortunate for this guy. Next we have decent role. So these characters, again, like I said, are about like 7 out of 10. They could cook, but I think that they do need a little better. So for that, I'm gonna go ahead and fill this out right now. We got Oob here. I think I have a God Topo here. We have Zamasu. which actually moved down from the last time. Then we also do have Krillin right there. So, I mean, I could technically just put Frieza up here, I guess. We'll see. We'll talk about it, I guess. Nah, I'm gonna keep Frieza down here. I don't like him. Oob can actually do some stuff later on in the game once he's able to get built up, but he's pretty mediocre laning. Like, he doesn't really threaten too much. Again, once he gets these cyclones up though, I think Oob, like when those cyclones are all up, bro, he's able to do some crazy stuff in this team fight meta. But I think that it's just harder for him to start the game off and then kind of build up to that, unfortunately. So that's why I have him in this decent role. If you know what you're doing with him, he could look good, but I just give him extra secure early on, even against Kai. Maybe his ultimate could be a little faster. I feel like his ultimate is not too difficult to avoid. I mean, it does good enough damage, but maybe if it was just slightly faster. Maybe I'm crazy, but that's really all I would change for him. And it's not even like his ult doesn't even need to really be changed at all. I just think he just needs extra early game damage. If he becomes better earlier on in the game, we are able to see Oob look a lot better. But maybe I'm crazy. I might actually, okay, here's what I think I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put Trunks here and move Oob up. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. So mid tier list, I'm making this change, and the only reason why, because the more I'm thinking about it, like, I had Trunks in good role because I think he does benefit a little bit from these team fights, but I think Trunks' HP is still too low, especially you could burst out a lot of characters right now. And that basically allows him to like get melted. Whilst Oob, I think maybe has a little more skippability. Yeah, I'll keep Oob up here. I think that sounds good, which is kind of funny that I'm changing that last minute, but hey, you know what? Sometimes we make these changes on the fly, because I was thinking about moving Oob up. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. And I think we will do this, and I feel pretty good about that too. So yeah, just unfortunately for Trunks, you know, even though his cooldowns were reduced, which does help him out, he is better here, but he just needs that extra health. Once Trunks gets that health, bro, he's able to start looking really nice. We have Zamasu. Zamasu is just worse, I think, like in this meta than the last meta, solely because Zamasu doesn't have a build-up anymore. I think if we had a build-up on Zamasu, he would actually be able to look a lot more effective. But without build-up, I think that he's just kind of whatever to me. At least, like, I haven't been threatened by Zamasu. He just kind of does just like nothing. He has like no real CC. His ultimate could be nice, and on Superstar I think this guy could look pretty decent, but I don't know, I'm not really seeing it with Zamasu personally in comparison to other tanks. We have Krillin here. I think Krillin could actually do some okay stuff, but I'm not like going too crazy over him personally. I think Krillin is just like a generally like okay pick, right? You know, he's able to look better with his buffs, but it's not like anything too drastic. I just think, you know, there's not really a point to pick Krillin for the most part, which is a little unfortunate for him, but it is what it is. So next we'll fill out Good and Roll. So Good and Roll are again characters that I would say are like 8 out of 10. With this, I'm gonna go ahead and put Super Saiyan Goku here, which is crazy. We're putting Daima Goku here, Bojack as well, Super Saiyan Vegeta, Baby, and then Majin Buu is what I'm doing for this list specifically. So Super Saiyan Goku, I found him to be not as good, but I think he's still overall effective. And if you know what you're doing with this guy, he can be strong. The issue with him is that, again, I feel like Boss Secure is not only not as important, but Spirit Bomb got nerfed. He did lose his Stagger and skill too, which, while that movement speed debuff, I find it actually pretty cool. I don't think it's as good as a stagger, right? Staggers are definitely way better. He did get a compensation buff where he's a little faster early on, which is cool. With his Kaioken, because for the most part, like, he did lose the second Kaioken stock at level 3, but Kaioken is the last skill you're going to be leveling up anyways, so it's not the biggest deal. You'll see this effect maybe in Superstar games, but it's fine, right? Super Saiyan Goku is just a generally good option right now, good and roll. By the way, wow, what's it with Trunks? If Trunks gets a health buff, this guy goes up. If Topo gets no obstruction on skill 3 and he is able to get maybe a faster roll, he'll also go up as well. Onto like this, like Trunks and Super Saiyan Goku, I think Trunks' ceiling is even higher than like what Super Saiyan Goku or like Daima Goku has, but he just needs the health, right? Speaking of Daima Goku, he can still be a little rat, right? Power pole dance is still really good. His ultimate is potentially good, you know. I think depending on the situation, you could do some interesting things with it. Skill 1, skill 2 combo is still nice, but I just don't think he is as impactful as the characters that would be great in Raw. I think he's just closer around to this general level. But Daima Goku is able to do a lot of different things, which is nice for him. Bojack, I do like him quite a bit. I think Bojack's able to hold his own very well just in this meta with so much area control. I think Bojack isn't a character that's necessarily affected by, you know, build up. I mean, he's even able to be pretty decent at getting a boss secure. I like him for medical respawn especially, which is, in my opinion, the most annoying divine draw. Medical respawn, you know, he's the go for that. Super Saiyan Vegeta, I think, is better in this kind of meta specifically, especially with, you know, the armor restore as well. I find he's just able to hold his own a lot more efficiently when it comes to team fighting, now that we're kind of focused a little bit more on that rather than boss secures. I think this guy has pretty decent survivability, honestly, and overall he's able to do pretty good things. Baby is just a lot better, mostly because of the existence of Broly. We do also have the existence of what's it called, Super Vegito. He could be decent with, I guess, right? God Topo, I guess, as well, if you want to use God Topo. But Baby is actually really nice right now when it comes to team fighting. I do like him. So Baby is able to just do some decent things. His skill 2 could be pretty okay. His ultimate is like okay. Skill 1 is also able to kind of hold pretty well, like against towers and things like that, but just more annoying than good necessarily. The Majin Buu is just overall, like, you know, again, a good option if you want to run him. The healing is nice. I feel like Candy Beam, low-key, in my opinion, Candy Beam is a little underrated. If you make the right plays with Candy Beam, you can scare enemies away off tower or even bosses. Skill 1, actually, I find pretty nice for team fights as well. The movement speed down could be really insane, especially, you know, if you're like on Superstar, but that's pretty much it. I like Majin Buu. I think he's able to do some decent things right now, and especially, again, in a team fight orientated meta, his healing, when it's especially maxed out, could be very annoying to kind of get around that. However, you can stagger him, so do keep that in mind. So next we have Best in Slot and Great in Roll. I think we will fill out Great in Roll first. Well, we might as well fill out the rest of the list, honestly, because it's like by the time you see who's Great in Roll, you know who's Best in Slot anyways. So I think I'm gonna talk about who I would put like Best in Slot first, and that is going to be Gammas. That is going to, I think, actually be Broly, but you could actually switch in Broly for another character. I feel like Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta and then Kid Gohan, and then we could fill in the rest here. Vegito, Piccolo, I think Super Saiyan 3 is Kale is really good right now. We get these characters all in here, and this is just what I'm thinking generally. So let's talk about these top 2 tiers here. So in terms of Best in Slot, Gammas, really good still. They're still very tanky. Even without build-up, they're still able to hold their own quite well. They're able to just do some really nice things with the additional shield. Core Breaker is actually very funny for like final bosses, because if you need to secure one of the final bosses, like the arena is small enough that Core Breakers especially covers the entire area. It did already before, but Core Breaker for that final boss is really good, or even holding a tower. Gammas are just overall hard to kill. They have the stagger and the ultimate as well. Like they just overall are doing a lot of really good things. So W Gammas. Now Broly here, I think you could sub in other characters for him. It almost makes me want to do like this, cause I think that a lot of these characters can kind of fit in this second slot. But I think Gammas feel like an interesting role that you can't really take out of other characters. Like for example, Kale is a character that you could put in best of slot. Like I could see someone talk about Kale in best of slot there. The only reason why I don't have Kale best in slot is I think once Kale is really explosive, but once people adjust to Kale a little bit more, I think in the meta, and learn, oh, Kale is the problem, which he is a problem right now. I mean, the reason why Kale is such a huge issue currently is because of giant or barrier being nerfed, right? Barrier is now a 15-second cooldown, which is very long. Barrier being nerfed along with team fights just being really good allows Kale's ultimate to also have more value, but also skill 3 skill 1 is just so explosive right now since our characters are so much less tankier. Kale is also really good at getting Kai secure, which is nice, right, for early game farming. Like you can't really contest Kale for Kai secure early game. I feel like Kale's probably the best at securing Kai right now. I just would say I feel like Kale, it's not like if you know how to play around her, you could get around her decently easy and you are able to bait her out, honestly. Or again, she just has so little like mobility. If you are able to jump her efficiently, which I don't think is the hardest thing to do with her, you could kind of wipe her out and her snowball stacks. But when she builds up those snowball stacks, she's very dangerous. I kind of like Broly up here. The only reason why I have Broly above like the rest of these characters is because he has anti-CC. I think anti-CC is so huge. Let's take a look at everyone who CCs. Gammas have CC. Vegeta has CC. Kid Gohan CC. Ultimate Gohan has CC. He could also have CC as well. Cooler I think has CC as well. Like so many of these characters have crowd control, staggers, stuns, movement speed down. Well, staggers and stuns are the same thing, but you guys got the point. Broly is able to avoid that with his skill 2 by diving in, which is really good. I think Broly just does a lot of damage. His ultimate is just also so oppressive, and is really good just for not only area control, but boss secure and team fights. Like Broly is like the team fight character, and he just excels at this role. I think Broly just, like with how they made Broly, I wonder if they made him, like if they adjusted his kit in any way in mind for season 3, because he's really good here and he would be decent in like zoning out and getting Kai. He just does so much damage. Now we have Vegito, who's the newest hero. Super Vegito is able to do some really nasty things damage wise as well. I just feel like, you know, he is a bit squishy. Broly at least has the strike defense up, even though, you know, these 3 exist and are doing energy blasts, and even Vegito's doing energy damage. I think Broly has an easier time to escape even than Super Vegito. Super Vegito has like his ult turn basically, which is stupid as hell. Like you have this ult up during team fights and he's just eviscerating people, and like, you know, this guy is able to handle 2v1 3v1. Honestly, like yesterday I was fighting with this guy 4v1 at a point, right? Which to be fair, a lot of that was because of Kid Gohan, which we'll talk about in a bit. Vegito just gets a lot of extra HP here. Like he's just also so good at team fighting. He's so good at this farming as well with finger shot. This transformation, like, and the XP loss is not the craziest thing of all time. I actually do think that's this like instant transformation is so good, because even if you do lose lane, as long as you get level 4, you can get level 5 ult and then have team fight for first boss just kind of ready. So that's really nice. or at least his ult for the team fight first boss. Um, if you know what you're doing with him and you time your skills like efficiently to hit multiple enemies, he does so much extra damage, energy damage. He's even able to chase someone down, like flash dodge is so good and so fun. This guy's great. I would say Vegito is better at like chasing down an enemy than Broly is, but I just think I slightly like Broly better because of the anti-CC. Vegito is susceptible to CC, and because of that, I think he gets blown up a little more than Broly. Kale, we already talked about her, but man, she's nasty as well. She just like blows up these characters. Piccolo could actually still one-shot bosses, especially with Kid Gohan around. Piccolo is really efficient. He's good at like kind of zoning out. He's good at, you know, controlling area. Even with skill 2, he could be pretty decent. He has the escape move with skill 3. I like Piccolo overall. He's still really good. I mean, you could even argue Piccolo best in slot too. Super Saiyan 3 is the one character where it's like, I have him great in role, but I don't think I would put him best in slot at all. I like Super Saiyan 3 Goku maybe a little more than other people right now, but I just think, you know, in the snowball based meta, Super Saiyan 3 Goku is efficiently able to just go in and secure kills and give snowball stacks. Super Saiyan 3 Goku is just able to look really good right now. Like, I am a huge fan of what he's able to do, and since secure is not as important, him not having Dragon Fist until level 7 is not the biggest deal in the world, actually, so that is also helpful for him. I feel like that was one thing that really hurt him in Season 2, is that he didn't have access to Dragon Fist. Another thing, just like with Kale, and even Piccolo benefits from this too, solid barrier not being ran on a lot of characters makes this guy able to just snipe even more efficiently. So that's really good for him. Piccolo and Kale, honestly, these three like benefit so much from just being able to snipe a lot easier due to lack of barrier. So yeah, that's really good. Of course, there's still defense stuff, but it's like sometimes you might not just be able to predict a Super Saiyan 3 ITing onto you. Next, we have tanks. I think Cooler benefits so heavy from this meta. Cooler is looking really nice right now. Cooler is more of a team fight tank, so that's why he's able to do really good. He got a slight buff with skill 1, which definitely did help him out a bit, like a little, but I think mostly it being back to team fights, like I say back to team fights, but like especially when it comes to team fights, Cooler just has so many options with his skill 2, applying high pressure movement speed down. His skill 1 can group enemies together, and like I did some crazy Cooler ults when I was using him the other day, and this guy is able to just help secure just like a win in these team fights, which is really, really nice. I'm a fan of Cooler right now. He's definitely a lot better right now. Caulifla is also better when it comes to team fights because she has Provoke. Provoke is stupid. Do I have to talk about Provoke? I don't think I do, if you know what Provoke is. In case you don't, Provoke makes all your attacks target towards Caulifla, so she's also decently tanky with Steel Skin. She's probably was already one of the better characters to use Steel Skin in Season 2, and that of course translates over to Season 3. She also even has this energy kind of barrier block, which could actually be really good against Kale. Like, that's like an answer against Kale that we do have available. And then Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta also just translates well into this meta. I don't know, he is such a well put together character, and he just does everything that a tank wants to do, which I feel like he's still a little bit too good, and he could definitely receive like a slight nerf, but I think we see a lot more other tanks in play depending on the situation, so I don't mind it too much. Now, technicals. Kid Gohan is best technical, I think, and I don't think there's really an argument against it right now. Due to lack of barrier, and you know, we have Kale around, Piccolo around, Super Saiyan 3 around, like look at all these energy blasts, even Vegito. Kid Gohan, this energy defense up is crazy against Kale and like all these other characters, and that's why I don't have Kale up here, because Kid Gohan is like in every game, and if you know what you're doing with Kid Gohan, you could get around Kale with that as well. This energy defense up, dude, is so good. It's just like you need that, and you get energy defense down, which to enemies, to be fair, that also helps Kale at the same time, or Super Saiyan 3, or really Vegito. Vegito might be the biggest benefit of Kid Gohan this meta. Kid Gohan just provides so many buffs. He has the multiple staggers in his kit. He's quite tanky, honestly. Like with, you know, you could run Steel Skin and then I guess defense step on this guy is what you would probably do. He does give himself all defense up. So that just makes him tanky with those two abilities. He also, again, gives energy defense up to himself here. It's a bit difficult to kill Kid Gohan. He also has his ultimate, which is not only a stagger, but gives strike attack up and strike defense up. Like, this guy just does everything, like, in terms of buffing. He's, like, mega support god. And since Snowball was nerfed, his value in that sense also is increased in a sense where, okay, now his passive buff, that's 400 attack. Snowball gives 200 attack. It's basically 10 Snowball stacks just by being next to Kid Gohan. This guy needs to be nerfed. They buffed him on release, like during the network test. I don't think he was that good. Then they just over buffed him on release, and he's just so crazy. And you know, all these other characters came out, like insane. Ultimate Gohan, I think, is still like a very valid character to use right now. He can still be very annoying. I think he could still do really well, or like pretty decent in team fights, but he's prone to being a lot melted. I think Ultimate Gohan is actually one of the characters that feel the biggest effect of losing barrier and losing build up, because this guy does not have good escape options. He has the flee, which is nice, but like you flee Vegito and the Vegito uses skill 2. You can flee Kale could just skill 3 you from afar. Like all these characters can kind of range him out. No, Ultimate Gohan could still do some pretty good stuff. Like, don't get it twisted. The staggers and everything he could do while stun, like his ultimate is pretty decent as well still. It's just he doesn't translate as well over into this meta due to how build up was nerfed. Now, if build up becomes slightly better again and they revert it back to only being 2 NPC kills instead of 3, Ultimate Gohan could see a little more play, but right now he's actually seeing less play. Then I think even hit an NA from what I've seen, and then 17 is so good right now because he is, this barrier is really nice. No healing on this barrier. Let's see what characters get shield. Super Saiyan 3 Gammas, Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta get extra health, Vegito gets extra health, Cooler and Caulifla have their shield abilities, Majin Buu's healing, Baby's healing. Like all these characters are just getting extra shield and extra health, or I say shield, but well, I guess it's shield for these two. Even Super Saiyan Vegeta, 17's like, nah, actually you're not going to do that, and it makes it a lot easier to kill them. 17 also turns buffs into debuffs, which directly hurts Kid Gohan and his buffs. I think that's something to consider when it comes to that. So I think that's really funny, and he'll make them receive extra damage if you do use the infinite energy reactor. His barrier is so good, movement speed up, and you're able to just use it twice. Like his barrier is probably the best part of his kit, I would say. He's also able to stop transformations, which directly counters Vegito in top lane. And if you see 17, you might just have to go bottom lane with Vegito, because 17 will just stop you from transforming and they could really pressure you. Because Vegito, before he transforms again, is a bit squishy, especially. When you transform Vegito, that's when things, like, he starts looking a little better, but he has like half the health pre-transformation. 17 is able to kind of counter that as well. 17 is just such a good pick in this meta. And Hit is just Hit. Just can move around the map. He's really good in team fights because of his ultimate as well. He could just like team blinds everyone. Rat King. This guy's just annoying. He's just still so good. I don't think I have to explain Hit, but anyways, this is my list. I feel like, again, if you could want to switch like a few things around, like 1 or 2 things depending on how you feel, I think that's very valid. But this is just what I'm generally thinking about just like the meta right now. Things are pretty good. I would say you could literally pick anyone from Good and Roll, and then you could beat a team that's like best in slot, right? By the way, best in slot, I don't think necessarily is the best team per se, because of the fact that you probably still want some sort of boss to an extent, but like also if you win the team fight, then you get boss anyway. So you could say this is the best team in the game. You could say maybe something like this is the best team in the game. You could, I don't know if I would say Vegito. Like I feel like it's Broly. Like I think it's only really boss secure. Like something like this or this might be like the best team in the game. Low key though, this might be like quote unquote the best, or even like this. I could see that potentially because of how much Kid Gohan gives to Vegito, but I'm gonna stick with just moving everything around in such a weird way. I'm gonna stick with not this. This right here is what I'm thinking, but I appreciate y'all for watching. Let me know what you think. If you think I'm underrating anyone, again, we'll come back around to this tier list in 2 weeks when Bardock drops. I appreciate y'all, and I'll catch you guys next time.